the Arab nations, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Jordan, UAE, Qatar, all of them, as far as I'm concerned, have played a very big role in the destruction of Gaza. Because I'm not saying that they should fight Israel and America, but they've sat down and they haven't taken any type of action to help Gaza or Iran. And in general, these countries take negative stances towards Iran, Syria, and Yemen. And I think it's because of the Shiite Sunni distinction, but it's also because they're in bed with America. So they're making it easier for America and Israel to destroy that region. And my argument is that you have good points. It's because they're in bed with them. Their oligarchies are making money off of America and everything else. But what they don't realize is that that's their region. And if it becomes unstable, it will eventually affect them too. Egypt refuses to accept what you call it, people from the border from Gaza. So now that the Gazans are being driven out of the Gaza, they're going to be driven into the desert and they're going to die there because Egypt doesn't want to help them. This level of not caring for your own brethren in your own region, you don't see it in Europe. Europeans took millions of Croatians in after Russia attacked them. Do you get my point? And they stood up for Ukraine and they even bankrupted their countries. So what I'm saying is that in the global South, especially in Africa and in the Middle East, we keep saying how evil the West is. True, but we're not doing anything. Let's remember that during World War II, Europeans lost 26, Russia lost 26 million people. England was bombed to the ground. France utterly wiped out. But they said we're not going to allow Germans to colonize us. It seemed like the Arabs and their citizens who are living off of the benefits their government give them have no political will to push back against the raping of their part of the world. That's all I have to say. What are your thoughts, Kunal? Yeah.
Well, the very first thing I want to say about these countries is that they are dictatorships. They are
Yes.
authoritarian dictatorships, and the subjects of those countries do not have a say in the actions or inactions of their government. That's
Okay.
number one. Yeah. Then, secondly, if you look at the extremist Islamic laws that they have in countries like Saudi Arabia, they make Iran look like a bastion of freedom. Yeah,
Iran is a secular country. I know they have those hijab things, but basically
exactly. I'm making this point that these allies, these so-called allies of America, these so-called Arab states that are allies of America, are extreme fundamentalist countries that practice levels of Islamic fundamentalism that are alien to the very Islamic countries that oppose Israel, such as Iran, which is ironic and interesting. So those are the first things that I would say, because there have been mass protests in these countries that have made these Arab leaders of these countries extremely uncomfortable, because the main thing that is keeping their people quiet is that they're able to provide wealth and to their subjects. So their subjects have become soft and unwilling to actually say, you know what, this is our country. Before we start talking about saving the Palestinians, we first need to take our country back from the dictators, and then we can now start deciding what we want to do to protect our brothers. But there are two steps to it. So the people cannot just start saving the Palestinians. They first have to overthrow that totalitarian state, which is not even a long time.
I'll give you an example. If you ask South Africans to help Nigeria, they say, fuck nah, we hate Nigeria. So if you ask the Arab people, not even just their dictators, let's come together to fight for our brothers in Palestine. Nah, we hate Palestinians. We hate Palestinians. That's a bigger problem. These people hate each other. The average Arabic person who lives that's not the president. They also hate they hate black people. They bring in Nigerians as houseboys and stuff and cut off their heads if the child has a fever or something. They kill Nigerians anyhow in Saudi Arabia. So what I'm going to argue is that the whole culture is cancer. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not really different from the point I'm making.
Yes.
Everybody has their own evils. So when we look at, we can't use some evils
But
that
this
they
is a
do
big
to.
evil, Kool-Aid. This is a big evil to celebrate the death of children. The Arab countries are sitting back. They don't care. That's a
Well,
big
the
evil.
Arab countries, they'll say that, why are you blaming us? That's like you go and murder somebody on Fifth Avenue and you blame me for not helping you to
Well,
go and
here's
hide
what
the
I'm
dead
doing.
body.
Here's what I'm doing. So here's what I'm doing. I'm also blaming America, but what I'm pointing out is it's doubly more disgraceful that the Arab nations, forget about Palestinians, that they're allowing a white supremacist Jewish order to take over their region and to control them. Do you see what I'm saying?
Because
That's
they
a
are
different story.
controlled by
No,
the
no,
West. All that.
yeah, yeah. But here's the thing: the Saudi Arabians are so pious. We are Islam. We love Islam, but they allow both countries, which are actually anti-Islam. America is anti-Islamic. It has a lot of anti-Islamic rhetoric. They're in bed with people who are against Islam, and you would think that since they are supposed to be theocratic nations, they wouldn't be in bed with someone who's against their culture. If we do studies, it was Saudi Arabian money that funded September 11. You see what I'm saying? It was
if
Saudi
if you look
Arabian
at the
money.
West, they split. They use religion to split sides. If you look at even Islam, it's not all Islam on one side. Even when you look at Christianity, look at Protestants and Catholics in Northern Ireland. They use it to confuse the narrative and to make it seem like it's Islam. But I mean, if you look at it, ISIS has killed more Muslims than it has Christians, and
Yeah,
ISIS
and
is an
they get
American
paid by
creation. I'm not
America.
saying that it's one. So it's far more layered
So
than
do you see?
that.
So do you see? But do
You've
you see
got to
that
look
my
at
argument is
Shiites
that
and Sunnis.
Kunle,
They're both
But my
Muslim, but
argument today,
they're
and my
not on the
argument
same
at the end of
side.
it. But you're helping me with my argument because my overall
Yeah,
argument
I know.
is that
I know.
let me finish. U.S. and Israel are winning because they don't do this to themselves. They're winning because people within the Middle East are against their own best interest and turning over and letting themselves get butt fucked by America. Same thing with Africa. We are the ones who let the CIA pay us to kill Lumumba. We're letting our other countries destroy us. But meanwhile, America's laughing to the bank. So what I'm saying is that these guys in these Arabic nations, what makes them so horrible is that they're putting even their own subjects in danger because they don't know what they're doing by normalizing relations with Israel. It's going to lead to their downfall in the end. Because eventually Israel is like Pac-Man. You know Pac-Man eats things? Next thing it does after it's eaten everything, it's going to turn around and eat the Arabic nations too. And at the end of the day, they'll say it's the white man's fault. No, it's your fault because you normalize relations with them instead of running away from them diplomatically before you could give them a chance to destroy you. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's the same thing that was done when the Europeans came to Africa. The empires were in decline, and they picked them off one by one. It's the same thing that
And these
ancient
guys, the
Rome.
Arabs, are making the same mistake. They're making the
Yes,
same. That's
it's
really
the
the point of
same
my whole
thing.
album. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing that ancient Rome did to the Gauls and the Goths in Europe. It's always been the same thing with these organized empires. What they do is they break them into little bits and chunks, make short-term agreements with some, and take out the other ones. And when they're weak enough, take them out one by one. That's how they operate. Now, the thing is that under this new democratic age of modern idealism that we live in, America and Israel have won tactically and strategically on the ground, but ideologically, because of the opposition of the populace of their country, they're going to lose in the long term. No matter how many guns, it doesn't matter how powerful they are. The problem is that the ideology will be a shocking change because the students of today are the leaders of tomorrow, and
Yeah.
they are extremely opposed. So, for that reason, it doesn't matter how many wins Israel has. Israel is as a state doomed.
Yeah, they do. Well, it might be doomed, but how painful does it have to be? For example, I told you this yesterday. All the Arab nations have to do is, and it goes to show you, the Arab nations are they're crony, so the Arab nations don't have a moral code. And once you don't have a moral code, then I can't blame you because I don't blame people for not having a moral code. I just want to understand who they are. So the Arabs have a moral code. They don't have a moral code. They're not theocratic states. They're not theocratic. They don't have a moral code, and what they're doing is that they're dealing with America because it's enriching them. So what they are basically saying is that we don't care about what happens to anybody else. We're in bed with these guys, and and then that's just the end of it. I think I lost my train of thought. But my point being is that they don't have or moral code. So they're embedded with whoever they want to be. So I lost my thought, but can you pick up from that? There's something I want to say. I can't remember, but go ahead. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but what I will say is that
Yeah.
the foreign policy of a totalitarian state does not necessarily or rarely, if ever, follows the intentions of its people, because by definition it is a totalitarian state. I would not say that the Arab people themselves support it. I'm not saying they're innocent, but I'm saying they've not even been given the opportunity to express it for themselves in a meaningful
Oh yeah.
manner. Because before they even do that, they would first of all have to say, I don't want a totalitarian state anymore. I want a democracy. Then they can be like, I don't
But
care.
here's
I'm
the
a
thing. You know
democracy,
what?
but I don't care about Palestine. I'm
Apparently,
a
I can't.
democracy. I
I don't
do
live
care about
there.
Palestine.
I don't live
But
there.
they
But
have to
apparently,
first take their country back first before we can now judge them on the
I don't
decision
live
that they
there.
make.
But apparently, they like it. And to be honest with you, I have no problem with the totalitarian state so long as it's humane. Do you get my point? Because African culture used to be totalitarian. I don't have a problem with that. You know, the U.S. is not totalitarian, but it's worse. You know,
Well, that's why when I want to blame, you can't blame the Arab people. You can blame the Arab
okay, so
government. The
let
Arab
me
people
blame.
may ultimately be thinking the same thing,
Yeah,
but
you're
unless
right.
they've
You're
been
right.
given an
You're right.
opportunity
It's
to
the Arab
talk,
government.
it's not
You're
fair
right on
to
that.
blame them when they've not had that right to
You're
speak
right on
for
that.
themselves.
Ultimately, is the Arab government. I will say that part of it is the people too, because if the people continue living in ignorance, and they don't even try anything, because we see within Western nations, our people. It's going to be a shame that the war will end or Israel hegemony will end because white people stand against it, but Arabic people didn't. Do you see what I'm
But
saying?
the way I see
So
the world will end for everyone when we die. So I mean, the world will end for us. So
no. But the point I'm making is that
I understand your point. I'm just being.
yeah, I'm just saying wherever it's a shame that within countries like Nigeria and within countries like Saudi Arabia, the citizens don't stand up for humanity. That's all I'm saying. None of their citizens seem to be standing up, but you have white girls who are rich
No,
standing.
they have been demonstrate. There have been mass
Are there
demonstrations
demonstrations in Saudi
in
Arabia?
these countries. They have been. I've been tracking them. There have been mass demonstrations
Sure.
against what Palestine has been doing by the civilians, and it has actually caused a great discomfort amongst those Arab totalitarian leaders.
Yeah.
I don't like to call them monarchs because I think it's
But here's the
an
thing.
insult to my
So here's
intelligence.
what I would
But
say.
they are threatening and they are forcing some of these Arab states to try to negotiate to not. They're the reason why they try to even pretend like they don't tolerate what Israel is doing at times is because of the pressure of their people,
Oh yeah,
but
they
they
pretend.
don't really take it
Yeah,
because
and they
those puppets are basically US.
so
They're
here's what they
basically
do.
US and
They straddle the
puppets.
fence. So here's what they do. They straddle the fence because they say that we want to we want to usher in a new government in Palestine, especially one that's not uh, against Saudi Arabia or that's not controlled by what is it, Sunni Shiite? I don't know. So they say we want a new government, and we'll shake hands with Trump and Israel and come up with an idea of how we can also make peace with Palestine, so long as it's not Hamas. You get my point?
Yeah,
As long as
I
it's not.
think the way the
I'm not
American
finished. I'm not
people.
finished. So what they're saying
Okay.
is that no. So what they're saying is that they agree that there should be a technocratic state in Palestine. But then they would say, but no, we don't like the way Israel is doing it. It's too brutal and it's not fair. So we have our own proposal too. So what they want to do is agree, but make it look like they're not giving into the West, that they want to shift it. But they only protest lightly, like Shakespeare said, thou dost protest lightly. You get my point? They'll be like,
Well, do you know how I'll say it? Look
yeah.
at the America has lots of protesters. Those same protesters, their tax money is paying for the bombs abroad. So
Yeah,
those same protesters, and they're also, but also on the
yeah,
other
but
level,
here's the
they're
difference.
also
Here's the difference.
discovering that they
Kool-Aid,
don't
here's the
own their
difference.
country.
Kool-Aid, here's the difference. I work. So if I'm assuming I'm paying taxes, if you know what I mean, assuming I'm paying taxes, that tax is going for Israel, right? I'm not. I'm not. What you call it? I'm not. What you call it? This is human nature. I have to feed my son. I'm working. The government takes the taxes for me, whether I like it or not. The only other option I have is to not work and die. So we can't use that as blaming Americans. They work, and their money, their tax money, is taken, or they go to jail.
Yes,
So
that's what
they're not,
totalitarian
so
states do. They don't
they
give you the
haven't given
choice.
they haven't given the approval
Yeah.
for their government to do that. It's by force. But so now when they're
Yes.
protesting and causing trouble, their protest is clean because they're not compliant. They're not assenting to their money being used for that. Do you see?
It's
There's
the
a
same
difference.
thing with the Arab peoples. They're also protesting and they're not assenting to the same thing, but their countries, they're
Yeah,
also
yeah,
going through
you
the
might have a
same
point. I just
journey
don't see it. I
that
don't
the
see it.
American people are going
I don't
through.
see
That's
it
the
going
point
on in
I'm
Saudi
making.
Arabia. Maybe you're right. I don't live in Saudi Arabia, so I don't know what's going on in there. But all I see is a bunch of people who are rich and happy, and they don't give a shit.
Well, that's what they'll say about the first world countries as well, but we know
I don't know. We
different.
see it on TV every day. We see
Uh,
policemen beating people on the head in Germany, beating crippled people. White man on a wheelchair, policemen beat him up for holding Palestine's flag. I don't even see the Saudi Arabian government coming out and saying we are pro-Palestine. Even the government itself. So the government is more toxic. The Saudi Arabian government is more toxic than the American government even itself. Because
the
even when
assets of it, the U.S. assets of Israeli occupation, so they're
yeah,
not going to do that.
yeah, Saudi Arabia is just
They're
as bad as
basically
Israel.
Israeli owned U.S. assets. So I
Yeah,
mean, like they're
exactly.
individuals,
I
you
think we
know.
can end on that. I agree with you. Saudi Arabia, all of Qatar, all of the Emirates, uh, Jordan are actually extensions of America. They are a
Yeah,
part of the American. They're part of the American
I'm not
empire.
saying that it makes the people automatically innocent, but at least it does take away their right to
Yeah,
actually
I'll agree.
say whether they're innocent or
So,
not, which I think
so
is
Saudi
unfair.
Arabia is
That's
not
what I
even.
say.
It's not even a totalitarian state. Or if it is a totalitarian state, then the totalitarian force that runs it is America.
Yeah,
We could
there's
argue
no
that.
elections in those countries. They're
Yeah, but
totally
not only
they
that,
don't
the
have
U.S.
elections.
But not only that, the U.S. props up their monarchs. So if the
Yeah,
U.S. That's why they were
they're
afraid of Bin Laden.
dictators. I hate that word monarchs. It hides what they really are.
But they're not even dictators. You know why? Because they're puppets. Whatever America is
Yeah,
actually people running Saudi Arabia, and we're
puppet
gonna put.
dictators
And I want
like
everybody.
Batista
I
in
want
Cuba.
people in Saudi Arabia watching our show. I want you to know y'all guys are America's little biatches. All right, take us out, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, so we've looked at how Israel,
Today now,
how
peace on South Africans and Saudi Arabia.
it's been an interesting look into the internal politics and machinations of American politics and its efforts to clean up its streets. We've also looked at the issues surrounding the states in the Middle East and whether they're being irresponsible or whether their defense is valid, that it's not them doing the killing and they should defend their brothers. And we've had a lot of to and fro on it. And for myself and Mustafa, we bid you farewell, adieu. Don't forget to
And we've
like
had
and
a lot of
subscribe.
back and forth with South African people today, this morning.
Yes, we'll see whose piano it is on Saturday, and we'll see you on the next.